Hey, how y'all doing? This comment is out to Tom Cruise. Just wanted to give you a lot of big ups on all the things that you've done with your production company and in the movies. You know, from Vanilla Sky to any other big movies that you've done in the past or in the current Mission Impossibles. You know, all the Mission Impossibles. Great movie. But I just wanted to speak on a topic that I'm sure you're concerned about too, which is children. Of course, you're a father and you're a parent as well. Um, I'm sure you've seen the new movie, being the educationally conscious person that you are, the movie Waiting for Superman. Waiting for Superman was an in-depth movie slash documentary that gave an idea of what was going on in the inner city versus the middle class suburban counterparts. And basically, what it did was it analyzed a lot of things like the achievement gap between the poor inner city kids versus the middle class suburban kids, and also it also analyzed and it went more in depth and analyzed the achievement gap between or the educational standard of the American children versus the foreign children. In I think it was 30 different developed countries, if I'm not mistaken. Movie was a great movie. I believe Jeffrey Canada and David Guggenheim, they did a fantastic job on it. But I also believe the movie just shed a light on probably just part and parcel of the things that were going on in the educational system of the children, especially that in the inner city. Having said that, 5 years ago I wrote a screenplay entitled Inner City High. And Inner City High is a screenplay that's pretty much all about the children. It's all about their culture. It's all about their persona. Gives an in-depth idea and an in-depth look at some of the negative things that's going on within the school system, that's going on with them outside of the school system, and things of that nature. It's a motivational script. Is very, very captivating, and I believe these are some of the things that needs to be brought to the forefront in Hollywood. I know you being in the Hollywood industry for so many years, you know as well as I do that a lot of people in Hollywood, a lot of these fat cats, more nothing more than pencil pushers and paper pushers. If they see something that they have, that if they see a script or something that they believe fits the script or can maybe make a couple dollars, they put it out there in the forefront. I believe right now Hollywood doesn't really have any originality. There's nothing genuine. It's all pretty much renditions of the same stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. They are great. They are great producers out there. There are great actors out there. There are great people in Hollywood that definitely go over and beyond the norm and make things happen. But for the most part, I believe majority of them they're just stuck. And pardon me for saying this, but a lot of them are stuck on stupid. Because they put out the same old things that have been in plain view for ever since Hollywood started back in the 1930s. And they just continue to remake it and remake it. Some of it makes money, some of it doesn't, but at the end of the day, they don't care because they feel that that's what's going on, that they can't do anymore. But knowing seeing what I've seen you done over the years, as far as with movies and your persona, and pretty much everything in total that you do, I believe that you have an open mind. You have an open mind, and you have a very broad view about society and about people. My script, Inner City High, is something that I worked on that I believe personally is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece to me personally, and I believe if you or anyone else that has this open-mindedness as you reads it, you would feel the same way that I do about it. But I also feel that it's a way for me not just to write a screenplay and to put it out there and say, hey, here's the screenplay, and someone in Hollywood picks it up and reads it and says, okay, hey, we're gonna buy it, or we're gonna produce it and do this with it or do that with it. No, I feel it's part and parcel of my way of giving back to the community and to society, and especially to the children. Because right now, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in this world. There's global warming, there's terrorism, there's this, there's that. But I believe that the children are number one priority, or should be our number one priority, because these children that we call our kids, they're the next generation. Without them, then where do we go? Where's our validation? And that's the number one and most important thing that I think as a parent or as a human being that all of us strive for. I believe Oprah said it best when she said, each and every one of us in this world wants to be validated for something, whether that thing is good or whether it's bad or what have you. But all of us wants to be validated for something. And my question to you and to other celebrities alike that wield power in Hollywood is, what do you want to be validated for? Do you want to be validated for all the accolades and awards and things of that nature that you've won in Hollywood? Or do you want to be validated for making a difference in the children's lives? That's the ultimate question, and that's the ultimate challenge. And I believe with my script, my screenplay, this masterpiece that I've worked on for more than over 5 years now, that it will bring that change. It will bring that difference. Like I said, with Waiting for Superman was an educational awareness. It allowed us to know what was going on in society with our children and with the environment that they were in, the school system, and things of that nature. But basically, it created an awareness of what was going on. I believe my script will create a motivational movement, a revolution that will change things. And that's what we should be all about because, like they say, the only consistent thing in life is change. But right now, society, that's what we have to work with is change. Change in these kids' interests. We have to change in our own mentality and our own persona and the way we look at them. 50, 60 years ago, when our own parents went to school, it was so conventional, it was so orthodox that the old philosophy back then was go to school, get a good education, everything will be all right at the end of the day. This day and age, you have kids bringing guns to school, you have children that just don't care about school, drugs, sex, money, they care about so many other things, and the last thing on their mind is getting a good education. So the question isn't whether or not our children are getting a good education. I believe the ultimate and real question should be, do they have any interest in getting any education? And if they don't have any interest, how can we then put that interest out there? How can we put it to the forefront so they will gain interest? And I believe the only way we can do that is through the culture, through this persona, this hip hop persona that all of them so much involve their life in. And I know it's a lot of people, teachers, parents, and other people might think it's a far-fetched idea that, hey, you know what, this is crazy. Why are you saying that children should be involved in hip hop when hip hop is violent, it's rude, it's this, it's that? But ultimately, hip hop is a $14 billion a year industry. This is the same industry that corporate America makes their money off of. You see so many different people that in corporate America that you would never think or fathom standing next to a rapper and trying to sell their product. But it's not because they like them, it's because they use this as a tool or whatever to gain revenue for themselves and for their company, because they see it. They see it, and they see that this thing is out in the limelight. This is what people are paying attention to. So my question to us parents or to us adults is that if we see what their interests are, why should we try as much as possible to take that interest away from them? And you see a lot of this in school when teachers, parents, and different people alike will try as much as possible to condemn the interest of these children, which is certain type of clothes they wear, certain types of shoes they wear, how they talk, how they act, their character. And if you take a look back and you dig deep into the foundation of everything, it all has to do, or it all interrelates one way or another back to hip hop. This is what these they emulate these rappers on TV, and hip hop is not just the culture about people getting their favorite singer or their favorite rapper. It's about football, it's about basketball, because at the end of the day, a lot of these environmental factors that affect these kids each and every day, they don't have anything to look up to. So I know you remember years ago, back in the 80s, when they made that movie with Morgan Freeman, Lean on Me. Now that movie basically showed an in-depth look at how, I guess, to treat children back then, back in those days. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was a true story. But anyways, having said that, Morgan Freeman, he brought baseball bats into the school. He fought kids and kids that were trying to attack him. He beat them up with the baseball bat, and he said, I used to be called Crazy Joe, now I'm called Batman. He's holding a baseball bat in the air like he actually won or achieved something. Nothing against Morgan Freeman. He's an actor doing his job, and nothing against the people that made the movie. But in this society, in this day and age, kids, you can't beat them into reading. You can't beat them into having a good education. You can't beat them into going to college. They do what they want to do. There's so much independence out there in the world today with the youth that there's nothing you can do to try to control them. So I guess the point of all this is that my movie, my script, my masterpiece that I wrote, Inner City High, gives an in-depth look at all of these options. And it also gives an in-depth look at what will become of the children of this generation if those options aren't exercised. I believe my script, Inner City High, I believe is a masterpiece, is an original work, which you don't see a lot of in this society today with Hollywood, because a lot of it, like I said, is renditions of the same old stuff. There's no originality, there's no innovation, there's no creativity whatsoever. And I believe my piece, my masterpiece of work that I developed and that I wrote will bring that change. It'll bring that change in Hollywood, and it'll also bring that change in society with the children, with the teaching methods of society that they use in the classrooms now. And I believe it'll just bring about not just an awareness like Waiting for Superman did, but it'll bring out a revolutionary change, a change for the better, a different way that we look at movies, a different way that we look at the society and children. And going back to what I was saying in reference to validation, this is what I want to be validated for. I want to be validated for not from any kind of award or accolade that I received, but I want to be validated for what I gave back. I'm a product of inner city school system myself. I schooled in D.C. and trust me when I tell you, it's no laughing matter. When you grew up in the inner city, especially back in those days in the '80s when crack was the big thing, it was bad. It was very, very bad. I never want any even my worst enemy to go through all those things that I went through back in those days, and I definitely won't want my children to go through it. But this is the things that are going on in society right now with these kids, with this new generation, with their persona that we don't get, that we don't understand, that we continue to try to change and mold and remodify just to make them do and act the way we want them to act. We have to understand that they have this independent mind, this independent thinking process, far different from the way that we grew up or the way our parents grew up. And the only way we can understand that is by talking to them, is by gaining that interest, is by gaining that trust in them, the same trust, the same interest that they have in these musicians and these icons that they glorify over, that they try as much as possible to emulate. I think we need to stop and think for a moment and really ask ourselves, how can we use this? How can we redirect their energy from what they're currently doing now to what we want them to do? And obviously, the ultimate goal is that all of us that are parents and all of us that are adults, we want our children to go to school, get a good education, and at the end of the day, be somebody. That can still be achieved. That can still be accomplished. No question about that. But how do we do it? I believe my script, my screenplay, my masterpiece delves into all of these things. And at the end of the day, it makes you sit back and really think about the problems that are going on in society right now, especially with the children. Because if they fail as our children, then I believe that we fail as their parents. Think about that for a second. That's my challenge to you.